everyone, and welcome to the show where after the collision, we sift through
the wreckage.
The wreckage. I am your host, Jimmy T. He is my co-host, the best in the world, Jaime the Vet Williams. And we've got our special guest. He is the glorious, the magnanimous even, the Professor Chabelo Vera Cruz. Welcome back. It's 2 nights in a row. Yesterday we did WrestlePalooza. Now we're all out.
Can you believe this? How many nights? What is going on, Vet? What's going on, Jimmy T? He kept me up. Jimmy kept me up all night. Wanted to talk about WrestlePalooza. We had to clean up after, Big Ray, Brandon, RBV, and Colin with all the food and stuff now. It smells good. The air in here smells good just for a second, because I know we're going to be sifting through that god-awful wreckage that was AEW. We had Dynamite. The Dynamite blew up. And then we had not one, but 2 collision episodes. We had a tailgate party, and then we went all out. Going all out for everything here. Crazy.
I think I'm all out of wrestling at this point, Prof. After yesterday and today, I am dead tired. I was nodding watching All Out. I'm not going to lie. And then I woke up.
I warned you. I did warn you.
I'm telling you, man. But there was attempted murder once again, Vet. What is going on with this company?
It's just another day.
No, true. That's true. Very true.
No murders. They were all failed attempts, so I guess we're fine.
It was not attempted murder, guys. It was vigilantism. That's what it was.
That's what they call it. Is that what the kids call it these days in 2025, huh?
Yes.
Vigilantism. Well, whatever it is driving me nuts. You know what I'm saying? And Brandon B, thank you for joining us. This is not the Brandon, it's another Brandon, right? I assume. Saying what was better, WWE or AEW? Well, to be honest, you know what? Maybe you should just tune in and find out, because we'll tell you by the end of it what was better. But I enjoyed WrestlePalooza personally, but we'll see how we feel about All Out. But, Vet, we got to go through all sorts of shit, man. So I'm going to try to keep the news to
what could have happened since last night?
Well,
nothing,
there's one
right?
thing. There's
one thing
I
happened.
Want to bring up. One thing did happen, and I'm not going to bring up anything else because I want to know.
That sounds like a good amount of things.
Yeah, well, like I said, we got to cover quite a bit of stuff on this show. So, but the ESPN debacle, as a matter of fact, Prof, you pointed it out that it's probably that the ESPN feed of and just ESPN in general with WrestlePalooza was going to be a mess, and boy, was it complaints. I mean, I took some screenshots, for example, of what was going on because I find it fascinating, guys, that everybody was complaining. Now, out of curiosity, like I was telling you yesterday, Prof, I decided to watch the ESPN feed. Now, other than a million commercials, which is fair enough, there was a lot, I didn't really have an issue with it. But this is what the people had to say, guys. First of all, some guy just goes, this WWE ESPN thing is an entire mess. App-wise, if you have this app, it'll work. It doesn't work. If you have it, it'll work. Then it doesn't work. Another person says, WWE really screwed up with this new ESPN streaming crap. Those of us who have old DirecTV technology.
Hold on.
Right.
First and foremost, with that comment is totally erroneous, and I'm not going to shill for WWE. WWE has no responsibility for the ESPN app. They just got paid by ESPN to go on the app. So every debacle that is on the app is solely on ESPN for its presentation, for the pricing and all that stuff. ESPN's responsibility, as I said last night on the WrestlePalooza review, Hamin Nice, is this. They're the ones that's got to make the agreements with the cable provider, so this way people can feel comfortable by uploading the app on their TV or whatever, their phones and shit like that. Number one. Number two, I said the app is trash, and for my own personal reasons, is, again, are you going to pay $30 for WWE alone? No. I think people were comfortable paying for Peacock because of the other stuff that Peacock offered with the shows and the movies. Again, for ESPN, I'll just say it quickly, Jimmy, and I don't want to go on a harangue, but if you love college football, guys, $30 is good. It's a steal. You see all the college football games. If you love fucking international soccer like Jimmy does, it's a steal for $30 a month. And then you add WWE. I don't know how NBA is gonna be. I don't know. NFL is kind of wonky itself. MLB, ESPN already said we're not gonna renew our lease on that one. We're not gonna renew that agreement. So again, you're paying $30 for WWE. If ESPN thinks that 100 million wrestling subscribers are gonna come in for this, hell fucking nah. And like I said, and Vet, if you want to chime in on this, I said that this 5-year deal between WWE and ESPN will be the only 5-year deal. I am calling it. This will be a one and done deal. I think WWE will have. Well, WWE wants to be mainstream. I get that part, Vet, but ESPN might say buyer's remorse. We might have paid too much for this shit. And then WWE will move on to Apple TV, maybe go back to Peacock on a sweet deal, just like, when they left USA Network for Spike TV once, they went back to USA Network. So I can see them going back to Peacock on a sweet deal too. So that's just my opinion. But I think this will be a one and done 5-year deal, and that's it.
Yeah. So I don't know, right? Because I didn't watch with the ESPN app. If you watched a feed later, if you watch a video on demand after the fact, it's not going to have stuttering and buffering issues because it's all fully uploaded already. So the only people that you would know how well the app would work would be the people that were trying to watch it live. And then again, you also have to consider that some people don't even realize that when they're leeching off their neighbor's Wi-Fi, that may not give you the best connection. So you have to know the difference between the app issues and your own trash internet as well. But we all know, like, whenever you launch a streaming service of any kind, they got to iron out some stuff. It almost never, in fact, it probably never has gone smoothly from, the first month or two. Usually it takes a while. If anybody remembers the original WWE Network launch, for example, which that was 100% on WWE back then because they were the sole proprietors. It was their own thing. And that was terrible. The archiving sucked, the streaming sucked, basically everything sucked, but it definitely got better. And there was a point when it was really good. And right when it was just about the perfect streaming app, they sold the shit. So it's kind of funny. But the ESPN thing will probably not take the whole 5 years to iron out all the kinks in the streaming and stuff and get all their ducks in a row. But, it may be unfortunate for the first event, maybe it was, or maybe the next one, they may have, increased traffic, even if it's something hot like Survivor Series. If they get a hot Survivor Series going, they may get a lot of traffic and they may crash everything again. So we'll just have to see. But, people complaining is nothing new. They would complain if nothing went wrong.
Yeah, well, for
just,
me,
just like you said, Vet, they complained about the WWE Network in 2014. $10 was expensive enough. How the hell are they gonna do this to us? $10 a month? What are you talking about? And then you're right. And then they had to sell it off. They sell off the licensing stuff.
Yeah, $10 was a steal for that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Was.
Especially if you really cared about the old content. The only problem with the old content at first was they didn't have the bookmarks so that you could skip to matches. They didn't have everything uploaded yet. So there was some problems with that. But after about a year, it was running smooth. So, but
yeah, and it was good when it was running good. But like you said, it was all about the internet. I watched the ESPN feed out of curiosity just to see how it was going to be. And I had no issues with it at all. For me, and me, I used to be known for the bad internet. For whatever reason, the internet's gotten a lot better for me over the months. I mean, remember a couple of years ago, Vet, how bad was it?
I think, Jimmy and Vet, I think the problem with the ESPN app, and, I kind of played with it a little bit, no homo, but I play with the ESPN app. And the problem is that you have to first upload it on your phone. And then once you upload it on your phone, and then you connect it to your TV, your Fire TV, your Roku or Smart TV, whatever the case may be. But if it's not synced with your phone, then you can't play it. You'll get an error message, and it's frustrating. It's annoying and shit like that. And plus, if you just want to get on the app, if the pay-per-view starts at 7:00, you just want to get on your ESPN app and then just watch it. ESPN, this app right now, just like Vet says, there's gonna be some peaks and valleys with some errors, and they're gonna fix it up and stuff like that. But at the start of it, like it loses your password, it loses your email address. So it's not like it's not succinct with your TV. It's like, oh my God, it's just annoying stuff. So for a lot of people that will complain, Jimmy and Vet, that's it, because they're so spoiled. They're so entitled. It has to be right then and right now. And then once you don't get that, people will start bitching and moaning and complaining.
It's true, man.
I do want to point out that, as Liz points out, that she's saying WWE hotshotted this because it was supposed to be later, but they moved it up. So I don't know about all the details of that, but yeah, it was supposed to not. They moved the goalpost. Somebody moved the goalpost. I mean, obviously ESPN could have said we're not ready if they're not ready. They thought they were ready, so I guess they wanted to launch it early. And this is what you get when you bite off more than you can chew. So. But that is a one detail to consider. Not that anybody that is complaining about things is going to consider Liz's detail.
True. Facts.
Very true.
I also wanted to point out, damn it, I just lost my train of thought now for a second. Oh man, it doesn't matter if I remember.
Oh, the train wreck too. We're not going to sift through that.
We're not sifting through that, no way. But there was something important I was meant to bring up. But oh well, it just left my mind. If it comes back, I'll say it again. But really, as I'm just sifting through the news over here, there's nothing really worth talking about, man.
All right.
Like I just feel like we should just get into, the wreckage proper, because like I said, we got a lot to cover. So Vet, I'm gonna pass the ball straight to you, man.
Gloves on.
Gloves on, definitely gloves on. Oof.
Yeah, this was the 3-hour Dynamite Collision edition from London, Ontario.
Right.
That sounds insulting to London, Ontario, Vet, right there. What's going on?
Well, it's like Ontario, California too, right?
Yeah, right. We got provinces, we got cities, we got all kinds of stuff. We got countries.
It's true.
We got Tony Schiavone. He's going to bring out, CNC Music Factory and STFR. They said that the way they get around no physicality is they say there's going to be fines for physicality. So don't you guys have any physicality? And then a bunch of yapping happens. And so Cash Cashin tells a story about how he first met Adam Copeland in 2009 when he was a young nothing. And I was like, and now here we are in 2025 when you're an old nothing. Everybody lists their accomplishments, but since all those accomplishments were in WWE, they just have to list a bunch of stuff in WWE without saying WWE. And then Christian lets everybody know that because he is rich, he is unconcerned about fines, and he starts a fight by punching, I believe it was Axe the Dax Daxon. And then they spend most of their time fighting with the security guards.
Yeah, I mean,
did I leave anything out?
No, that's pretty much it. And really, there's not much to really say about it, because really come to the pay-per-views when all that shit really gets going. But we've seen this pretty much week in, week out, building up to this match, right? I mean,
yeah, I just want to ask Professor, because he may remember. Somewhere in the cluster, I lost it, but Stokely said that if they touch him, it would cost $500,000. Did they actually end up touching him?
I remember Christian saying, "Well, I'm rich, so I'll touch all of them." But the $100,000 was less on the FTR side of the fine.
Right. He definitely punched the bald FTR. So
yes,
I would say that. And but the other thing that got brought up that I guess Christian didn't think about was Stokely said he would go and get the match canceled. So I guess they could have done something where they showed him trying to get the match canceled. And that probably would have led to a funny on-air interaction with Tony, but darn, I don't think we got that.
It was a lot of word salads there, guys, because again, the $500,000 for Stokely and then the $100,000, and then you had Christian saying, "I'm rich enough to pay the fine." But then, yeah, just like Beth said, they didn't really touch Stokely. They wanted to go after the greatest tag team in our modern history of FTR and all that stuff.
God.
So it is what what a way to start a segment like that, guys. Again, I'm not biased. It's not about anything about FTR and stuff like that. No.
Well, wait till we get to the match.
I know. I'm just gonna say I can't wait for that.
Beautiful.
But I'm just saying I will reiterate this. 13,000 people sold out Toronto Scotiabank, and we'll talk about that later, Hamin Nights, because of these 4 gentlemen, plus a man that cannot get no hose. So it is what it is.
The chance, no hose. Oh, man.
Well, speaking of hose, the Young Bucks. Renee is with the Young Bucks who have money again. They get their entrance back. And then we get the Bucks versus the Bangs. And
can I say one thing? But I'm sorry.
You absolutely can say one thing, and I'm counting it.
I just want to read. It's kind of funny, right? They won $500,000. This is real, guys. They won that $500,000, 4-way match, whatever the case may be.
They could punch Stokely if they want.
That too. But I remember, when they were EVPs, they were complaining about clearances and music and stuff like that. But this $500,000, guys. They could get their entrance, they could get their pyro, and they still got money left over for the limos and stuff like that. How come on one pay-per-view, it was so expensive to clear some songs and stuff like that, but now $500,000 is like they won the lottery. It's more, I guess inflation doesn't matter right now, guys. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, actually, as a matter of fact, if you watch Being the Elite, Prof.
Oh God, that's how they explain it. I'm sorry. Sicko logic will make me. Did they invest in Wall Street? Did they invest?
Oh, they invested. They invested gambling.
That's in slot machines, apparently, because they did show that.
Gotcha. So they recouped 500,000 more with the slot machine success.
Yep.
Exactamundo, man. I can't believe I even said that, but yes.
But they didn't want to put it on Dynamite. They didn't want to put it on Collision, where people could actually watch the story progress of them, maturing that 500,000. I have to go to YouTube and be a part of the 100,000 sickos weekly to watch that reason unfold. Thank you very much, Jimmy.
It may have been a picture-in-picture, but anyway, well, they're gonna take on the Bangs here, the Bangs, and the worst possible combination of Bangs, and they don't win. They hit the TK driver on Juice, and the Bucks move on to. This was a qualifier for the 4-way ladder match. So Bucks move on, and we're going to move on.
Yes,
a promo package for the tailgate brawl. Okay, we're moving on. The Beast. Jimmy, the Beast. Yeah.
There you go.
Versus Mascara Dorado.
Just the way you said it.
Well, you know who's winning. Shooting Star Press. It's funny. All the moves that Dorado does,
right.
And then like the move that he uses as a finish is like something that was impressive like 30 years ago. Like when barely anybody was doing it, like, oh, a shooting star press. Now guys do shooting star presses from their feet on the mat and all this other stuff. It's funny. I find it funny. I don't know how you, but Okada comes out with Don Callis, but then Takeshita comes out, and then Dorado springboards on Okada, and then just stares at Takeshita. I'll jump on this guy, but I'm just going to stare at you. So they stare at each other, and then nothing else happens.
Jesus. I just got flashbacks.
Did that get you excited? Did that get you excited for this 3-way?
Out of all the people from CMLL to pick for this unified championship triple threat match, you pick Mascarita Dorado. You couldn't pick Mystico. At least then it gives me some intrigue. It gives me some, purpose to be invested. But you pick Mascarita. The lamb to the slaughter of the storyline of a match no one cares about because they want to see a singles match down the road. Again, neither here nor there. I'm just saying.
He's only there to protect the other two, really.
Yeah, that's why. Exactly. Who are you gonna? Who's CML gonna? Who is CML comfortable giving up? If it was Mystico, they'd have to have him eat the pin, so they don't want him to do that. So they went with the the other guy.
What happened to the Strucker Mercedes? But where's the stroke of Mercedes Moné? This is Beast. Well, Jimmy, you can say it better. It's Beast. That's more intriguing with that coming into All Out, but they dropped the ball.
And he's a better worker, but who cares about that, right?
It's true.
So, anyways, timeless Toni Storm promo. She comes out, got the spotlight on. Then Hayter comes out and grabs the mic, kind of like, when Tony Schiavone's doing something and somebody grabs it, but she just kind of grabs it and holds it there, does her promo right next to Tony. And then Statlander comes out and does the same thing. I'll grab this mic and hold it, and Tony just has to hold it for me. And then, they all do a promo. And then Tekla storms past, and she does not grab the mic because she's got a match. She doesn't have time for all this talking. And it's a no-holds-barred match with Queen Aminata because these guys have got a rivalry that is just, it never ends, but yet they never really call attention to it or do anything with it, but they just keep on having this rivalry. But the good news for me, at least, and maybe for everybody here, depending on how much you guys have to say about this match, is that I saw a kendo stick in this no-holds-barred match, so it is disavowed for me. I do not have to comment any further. Jimmy, you first.
It's got Tekla in it, man. You know how I feel about Teklas, bro.
She's your favorite?
Far from it. She's just, I don't know, man. Why am I supposed to be invested in her when they really don't do much with her in terms of her talking? Tell us, she should come out and tell us who she is and whatnot. I'm supposed to think she's some spider bitch. I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
She's telling you with her actions, Jimmy.
Wow.
She's telling you with her actions. Don't you see how she puts her body upside down and does a bridge? That tells you everything you need to know right there.
I've never seen that before ever, man. It's pretty impressive.
Never in a wrestling ring by a wrestler, nope.
Never. But you're right. This is the story that never ends, even though there's no real story, if you know what I mean.
No, it is a real story, Jimmy.
No, there's story. Don't get me wrong, but it's very...
No. I have to defend AEW and the constant great booking of Tony Khan here, because with Tekla and Queen Aminata, since Forbidden Door, guys, they've been fighting in the locker rooms. For some strange reason, they fight on the planes to get back to America. They fight to get back to London, Ontario. They fight in the cars to travel the highways and byways, and that's what it is. Now, for what Tekla does in the bedroom with going upside down, that's a different story for another day.
But Tekla.
Yeah, I like that Tekla right there. But when she spoke, guys, I don't know if this was this Dynamite or last week's Dynamite, when she wanted to fight Toni Storm, she just ruined herself. When she spoke, she ruined any momentum, any investment. She's got to work on it, or just let Julia Hart or Sky Blue speak for her, because then she could be like an Assassin Creed kind of girl and just, she does her talking with her actions. But the way she spoke, nah, that was it for her.
God, it's pretty bad, man. Luckily she doesn't sound like Arnie, though. To the chopper. You know what I mean? Imagine she started doing that. But anyway, yeah, I'm just...
Then she sounds more interesting. I'm sorry. If she sounds like Arnie...
She probably would.
Yeah.
She probably would, 100%.
What are you doing down there?
What are you
Stop
doing? It. Yeah, that's awesome.
There was a...
Just don't say that in the bedroom, Tekla.
Don't say it in the bed. So, there was a schmaz afterwards. So, because there always is. So, just once again, stop it.
Stop it.
Hang Person interrupts Alicia, who's trying to conduct an interview with Skyflight, which we're all trying to hear. We're all politely trying to listen to Skyflight sell us this pay-per-view. And Hangman, of all people, runs in to just, hey, guys, you guys that some of you have been here since literally day one and everything, guys. In fact, pretty much all of you, guys. Just want to let you know, Don Callis sometimes interferes in matches, so be careful. Thanks, Hang Person. What a fucking empty-headed dipshit.
Man, he's a nice guy, Vic. Come on, man. He warns people about the Callis
thing. But doesn't Scorpio Sky already know this? He's a day oneer.
No,
she
no,
already
knows
knows
he doesn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Danielson.
He doesn't anymore.
The Martins, I'm pretty sure they're all day oneers.
And they've all been
I
attacked.
think Layla Gray was maybe a day oneer. If not, she was a week oneer.
Definitely. She was. Layla Gray 100% was. I'm pretty sure.
So who in Skyflight doesn't know that Don Callis cheats in matches?
And why? What was the point of that segment too? Like, really, when you think about it,
the
why?
point,
Like,
I don't. There was no point. The point was these guys haven't been on TV and they made the trip. That's the point. Oh shit, we booked Skyflight and don't have anything. All right, let him get it on camera. That's the shoot version. Okay, behind the scenes. The more you know. Anyways, matriarchy versus jet speed.
Oof.
The big story of this is definitely not what happened in the ring. What as far as the match goes, it's the ending where
Right.
Kip Sabian got a little too handsy with Kill Switch, and the dinosaur has had enough and is like, all right, you do it yourself, and he gets off the apron and leaves the matriarchy.
How obvious where this was going, right? And we called this, by the way, Vet. Didn't we say this was going to happen? What it leads up to, anyway. We'll get there when we get there, but you know what I'm talking about.
Probably. I didn't know they were going to do it this soon, but then again, I don't spend any time thinking about it. What was your take on it, Professor? I mean, well, you've been following along, so you know basically this whole story. But how'd you feel about this? Seeing Kip left to his fate.
It's funny when you say it that way. It makes it seem self-defeating to me because, again, the story of Kill Switch, we know in real life that he had his health ailments and stuff like that. So it kind of derailed where we're supposed to go because the abuse, the mental abuse was done by Christian Cage. And all the payoff was for Kill Switch to get his revenge on Christian Cage. Maybe Nick Wayne, but Kip Sabian just feels like an afterthought. It just feels like, the consolation prize for the Kill Switch freedom, if you will, guys. It just, again, it's self-defeating for me. Like Jimmy says, we know where this was going, so we'll save that for All Out.
Well, as nice as Jet Speed, as nice of a guys as they are, they weren't above kicking his ass and beating him down after that. So they did win the match, for the record. Big Bill will not believe that Eddie Kingston is at All Out until he sees him at All Out, and if he shows up, he will be exposed as the fraud that he is. More on that later. Bryan Danielson sits down with Darby Allin to do one of these type of interviews that JR used to do, and sometimes Tony Schiavone does. And now we got Danielson. So he sits down with Darby and he's like, why'd you climb Mount Everest? And Darby was like, 'cause. And then he said, now, Bryan, I know that you hate the Death Riders, but you have to give me your word. And he does I'm cutting this down severely because Darby tells a whole long story about why his word means everything. But he says, I need you to give me your word that no matter what happens, you won't get involved in this match. And Bryan's like, okay, I won't. Now you give me your word that and Darby shakes his hand. So whatever that secret is, Darby gave his word. We'll find out.
Well, also he's talking about his dead uncle being drunk, if you remember, and how he survived the car crash.
The details are unimportant. Just trust him, all right? Just trust the kid.
Whatever the details was is flight shit. It was riveting television. I felt like I was watching 60 Minutes. I was watching Tucker Carlson. I was watching a very riveting interview between two esteemed pillars of the wrestling community. I mean, Bryan Danielson just sitting down in his flannels, and Darby Allin is riveting television, guys. We cannot dismount this.
Now they didn't have the lighting treatments of those other things, but they did their best, I guess.
It's London,
it's Darby.
It's London, Ontario, though, so you got to blame them. I don't blame AEW.
Yeah, Canada doesn't have any lights per se.
No,
not northern or otherwise.
That tariff is a bitch. I'm sorry.
Yeah, telling you. So where are we at here? We're making good time, guys. So
Good.
If we want to riff on anything else some more, we'll just
I just
throw it
brought
in.
up
But
about his dead uncle and how he survived. That's it. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's cool. Hey, do you think Darby? People are missing opportunities. AEW's missing opportunities. They have to work Darby in to stuff like, that they just released that Skate. You know what I'm talking about, Jimmy? That game, the video game.
Oh yes, Skate. Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Yeah, this new sort of like open world, like free to play type. We need to have like a Darby as an unlockable character. They should reinsert him into the Tony Hawk collections after the fact,
cool,
like as a DLC character. Cool. Let's get some crossover going.
Absolutely, they'd be idiots not to. I mean, what are they waiting for? And look,
I guess they're
Darby.
idiots.
But
here's not an idiot. CEO. Okay, she's coming out. She's gonna sit at the desk. Yep, she's gonna do that a little bit. And we get Riho versus Robin Renegade, and that's a lot of alliteration there.
It's that big strong win, right, for Riho going.
Oh yeah,
all out.
Yeah, you remember Robin Renegade, one half of a twin tag team that the twins been gone forever, and she only works on Ring of Honor. Yeah, strong win for Riho. Although I will say, here's the difference. Here's why it's not a strong win for Riho.
Oh.
It's just a normal win.
Okay.
Because Riho doesn't really do jobs.
True,
the strong win.
Right.
The strong win is for a person that does mostly jobs, but then they need to be a strong win for somebody else coming up.
My bad.
So it's like
true. You're right.
when Dustin Rhodes, like he does all these jobs, and then he beats one guy that's even more of a jobber right before he loses his title opportunity or whatever.
Right,
like that is the strong win in its truest form.
No,
this is
right.
just a normal. This is a layup for Riho.
This is a momentum. This is a momentum building win, Jimmy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So this way you can actually believe at All Out Toronto that she could be the one to eclipse the CEO. That's what it was.
A step ladder, if you will, a step stool or a booster seat, anything that you want to say.
Booster seat.
She hits a power crucifix, for lack of a better term. I'm just going to coin that. It's like a power slam, but a crucifix pin. So it's a power crucifix for the win. And then as she's like, kind of looking at Mercedes and being like, hey, I'm going to, I'm going to beat you. And then Robin recovers enough to grab her by the ankle and hold her there. So Mercedes comes in and hits her with a backstabber. So poor Riho. Will she be 100% for the show in a couple days? We'll time will tell.
Time will tell.
Any thoughts on Robin Renegade, who I thought got a lot in this match?
You know what, man? She's a lot. Let's be real. I think both sisters are actually talents, man. I do think they're actually pretty good if they were actually used properly. But I guess no one's using them properly.
Jimmy, it's obvious. Why didn't they do twin magic? The Renegade sisters are as close as twins as possible. You could at least done that. Twins? I'm just saying.
I'm pretty sure they are, right?
But I'm just saying. But you could use twin magic. It could fail, and you can make Rio's momentum building win even a stronger win.
A stronger win. Yeah.
Well,
I think the sister. I forgot. God, it's been so long. She's been gone so long. I forgot her name. Which one? It's Robin and.
Oh my God.
Reba?
No.
No.
I think I'd know it if I heard it.
Yeah. I'll just.
Anyway, I believe she suffered some catastrophic injury, however long ago, and that's why she's been.
It felt like 2 years ago.
But I have no idea what she's been up to since.
Yeah, she's never been back since. It's Charlotte and Robin, by the way.
Really? Okay.
Well, that's her shoe name, but what's her actual freaking ring name?
It should be Reba. I'm sorry, Robin and Reba.
Some with an R.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right.
Well, this is dead air. So.
It says Charlotte Renegade, man.
Okay, I guess it's
Charlotte and Robin Renegade. I kid you not.
All right, so we get dueling Death Riders and Ops promos, like the pre-taped versions where they go back and forth with them answering each other in these pre-taped promos, and we could be getting. Are we going to be getting Daniel Garcia versus Shibata part 3?
If Shibata kicks his absolute backside, then cool. But he's not going to do that
Okay.
when that does happen.
Spoiler
Right.
alert, they did.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
So the main event is Josh Alexander and Hechicero with Don Callis doing the most ridiculous intro that's ever been done for anybody ever. And that takes into account Paul Heyman. That takes into account Ricardo Rodriguez. Takes into account everything. This man is absolutely ridiculous, and he doesn't know what anything in Spanish means. So that's pretty funny. Versus Skyflight. Whatever. The match don't matter. Hechicero gets a win, though. He gets the guillotine head scissor thing.
Good.
And beats one of the Martin kids. And then the family comes in and surrounds Christopher Daniels. And it's like, the sharks are circling. There's blood in the water. Daniels is there. What is he going to do? And then the entire 4-way ladder match tag participants run in, start fighting. Bandito and everybody ends up outside, and Bandito ends up diving on everyone. And then somehow Daniels has back in the ring, surrounded by everybody again, just where we started before all that shit happened.
Well,
it was great.
Well, Vet, remember the numbers game. I mean, Lance Archer was not in the frail. Who else was not in the frail? Maybe Hechicero was not in the frail, but he kind of went back into the ring. It was those two, but it was Lance Archer that made a point to take out Christopher Daniels.
Yeah, and Daniels is just an idiot because he had the opportunity to book it while everybody else was doing other stuff, and he somehow ended up back in the middle of the ring, which I don't know if he just got lost that bad or, I don't know. CT's a hell of a thing. I don't know, but he's in there. And then Hangman runs out, and I'm sure as he was running down there, he was like, God damn it, I tried to warn them, and they didn't listen. And then Fletcher runs out because he was the one member of the Callis family that didn't get knocked down by Bandito. And, he runs out, and eventually Hank Person ends up getting brainbusted through a table. Will he be 100%? Much like Riho, will he be 100% for his upcoming match?
Just remember that this was the plan all along for this edition of Dynamite / Collision, this extravaganza. Kyle Fletcher warned him.
September to remember, Chabelo. Come on now.
That's right.
We're going back to ECW. Yeah.
No. Do not.
Except that's November.
Do not disrespect ECW. This is Earth, Wind, and Fire. This is September to remember Earth, Wind, and Fire version. But the plan all along was to take out Hang Person Adam Page by any means necessary, because again, Kyle is a man of his word that it will be one-on-one at All Out, but he never promised that was going to be one-on-one during Dynamite / Collision September to remember.
That's true. That's
All
very
right.
true. And that's the end of the show after that.
Yeah, that's the end. We
That was
have
quick.
set the table.
Wow, this is a new record, by the way.
Yeah.
Before we
Going
move
through
on to the
Dynamite.
next segment, guys, let's go business-wise just for a quick second if we have this.
Sure,
Ben,
go for it.
I'm gonna go to you because the way you even explained it and expounded with your words, Don Callis family versus Skyflight. This is the main event for your flagship show. Do you, Vet? If you was behind this,
Prof, come on.
I'm sorry because I might have a harangue when I say this, but Vet, if you was in creative, if you was behind the scenes with Tony Khan in the booking meetings and all that stuff, would you tell Tony Khan with a straight face, this is gonna get a lot of people watching TBS Skyflight in the main event against the Don Callis family? Vet, make it make sense.
Okay. I like a challenge. Well, obviously you're right. But, to not play devil's advocate, but to explain how thought processes can have the best intentions and still be wrong and fail, right? So there's a few things here. Number one, the problem with Tony Khan booking this specific thing is he knows where it's going, but everybody else will just see what you said. On paper, the main event is Skyflight versus the Don Callis family, which even if you promote it as that, or even if you have a picture showing you who's going to be participating in the match, most people, if anybody pays attention or watches wrestling like that anymore, they're going to look at that and be like, well, I can miss that, right? So they don't know that there's going to be a run in. They don't know there's going to be an angle. They don't know that there's going to be post match, whatever. They should assume it, but they don't know it. So they'll probably be like, I don't care. I'm not going to stay up. I'm not going to even bother to pirate this. I'll just read about it if I care. I'll see a social media clip. I'll see the results. I'll see something. So that's what's going to happen generally. I think one of the reasons why Dynamite has had a history of lackluster main events is because the metrics are telling them, and the only metrics they have to go on are TBS, right? Because, you know, that's just what's officially recorded. Now they say that there's a max number, but this goes, we won't even get into that argument because this behavior predates HBO Max airing these episodes, right? So he's been doing this since, where he'll have he puts usually a better match at the top of the hour, the top of hour 2, than he will in the main event. So to me, that consistent behavior of him doing that tells me that his metrics tell him there's a viewer drop off in the later quarters, because the reality is, like I always say, nobody's watching cable. It's just people that have fell asleep with their TV on after dinner. So they will either get up and turn the channel off, or they'll just leave it on, or they'll just change the channel when they're done eating dinner. But here's the thing. If you put a marquee name in the main event spot, then if the number goes down, you run the risk of damaging their ego of knowing that they were in the worst rated segment on the show, even though they're supposedly a big name.
Young Bucks.
So so that's why Daniel Garcia gets so much main events, because it's like, well, shit. I mean, whatever number he gets, that's what he deserves. And they know that. Now they'll glaze the kid all they want, to his face. Pause. But in reality, they'd rather put somebody like that, or somebody like this tag team match with Skyflight. You get to tell these people that don't deserve a main event, hey, you guys main evented. You get to save the Stars' ego by telling them that they weren't in the worst rated segment of the show. That's the real reason why I believe these things happen the way they happen. Now, if you want to consistently book out a show that promotes a main event and builds to a main event, then the people in those main event, those stars, are going to have to just put their ego aside for a few weeks, and then hopefully some momentum can go on, like word of mouth and, momentum and just things of like, oh, they're actually doing good shows now. We got to tune in. We got to stay to the end of the whole show. But for a while, it's going to take people to get reconditioned to that. Oh, AEW is not just throwing the main event away. They're actually putting on a good main event. So once you get, people are going to miss that at first, but if you keep doing it, they'll start tuning in. That's the idea, the psychology.
No, I agree with that. It's just like, Jimmy, you can come in on this too, because they're saying without Swerve or without Will Ospreay, without Kenny Omega, the main event scene's a little bit dry right now. But supposedly, I've been told by Sicko Logic, this is the deepest roster, and anybody can be, anybody can be plugged in the main event scene. I'm sure as hell it wasn't Skyflight in my head to be in the main event scene. The Don Callis family, that's a main event agitator. Don't get me wrong, I agree with that part, but you need some main event baby faces to go against the main event agitators.
No, you're right.
Yes.
It's true. I mean, look how bad. Right now, they're really missing. They're hurting without Swerve and Ospreay in many ways. You know what I mean? But you know what? At least they're saving themselves. And how long would they be out for at this point? I mean, they're going to be out for a long time, right?
Well, Will Ospreay got his surgery. I don't know when Swerve is going to get his.
It's going to be a while.
At least 6 months. It's going to be a long time, right?
It's going to be a while, but again, those guys don't really I don't think as far as the fortunes of the company, they're going to move the needle that much, to use an overused phrase. So yeah, it sucks they're not there, but It's fine. Now the other thing I would point out to my earlier explanation is, in the past, when they've had a main event that has been billboarded and then throughout the show they've led up to it and kept reminding you throughout the show, those main events have done a better number than other main events in the past. So even in the short term it works, but for whatever reason they don't want to do that on a consistent basis. So as an analytics guy, I believe Tony Khan has a reason, rightly or wrongly, why he does what he does. And, you know, my only counterpoint to that would be is like, well, it's your company. But as Dutch Mantel says, if you always do what you always did, then you always get what you always got. So something to consider. I wouldn't mind, you know, just being like, this is the show I want to do. And this is what, because you can't, in my opinion, when you're making art, and booking is an art, in my opinion, you really can't try to book for something predictively or like what you think is gonna work for the fans or something. It's got to be something you believe in, and you got to stick with that. I think people think Tony Khan just does whatever he wants, but I also think a lot of what he does is tempered by what he thinks will succeed based on his own likes. And
hence, like you said, the formula of doing like bigger matches at the 9 o'clock hour, because he knows that the ratings will go up.
Right. He knows there's a better chance. And the WWE also did that for a long time. Like they would have, you know, Raw would have like, you know, even we're talking 6, 7, 8 years ago, things like they would have like a decent match, you know, at like the midpoint of Raw or like the top of hour 2. And then the you know, the main event would be some, you know, they'll just throw some divas in there, or they'll throw Dolph Ziggler in there, you know, like whatever, who cares? Nobody's watching anyway. So that kind of thing. They've been doing that. That may be where Tony got the idea. It may have been where he got the metrics. He may have studied their metrics from the 20 teens and been like, well, this is what they were doing and this is what happened. So, you know, and if you think about it, that time frame would make sense because he's probably already thinking about starting his own company, putting the wheels in motion, talking to people, trying to broker deals, you know, talking to his buddy that was working at Warner Brothers at the time. I forgot his name, that's now moved on, you know, all that stuff. You know, that doesn't happen overnight. So maybe he was already thinking of like, okay, well, I'm studying what the WWE's doing. And then what would I do differently? Or how would I do this? Or what would I do the same? Who knows? But it is a, you know, it's one of those things where this is now the time where everybody wants instant results and instant success. So even if you believe something will work and you have a game plan, people may not be patient enough to see that out.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, speaking of not having the patience to see it out, All Out. My goodness, another extravaganza. I did not see the tailgate party kickoff 90 minutes, whatever it's called. I have no idea what happened. Professor, did you?
It was the Collision tailgate brawl pre-show to All Out.
Right. Did you happen to see it? Were there any notable happenings? Jimmy, or
well,
no, I didn't see it. You know
we,
me. I
we
never
talked
watched
about
the pre-show.
we talked about Shibata and Daniel Garcia 3, which happened at the tailgate brawl right there. And
oh, it did.
Did it main event the tailgate brawl?
No, it did not. It was
okay. So I would have had to watch it. I couldn't disavow it.
It was an 8-woman all out brawl that main evented that Collision tailgate brawl. But the funny thing, breaking news, Haminites, Daniel Garcia has got new music to come out to with the Death Riders. And you know, do you care? Do you not care? You know, again, that's what it was. I'm trying to do Vets kind of like reviewing. A little bit of a mixture of a little bit of metal, a little bit of hip hop. It was kind of a smooth groove, but I didn't really care about
it's
that.
It's better than Hooks, right?
Oh hell yeah, it was better.
Okay.
It was better than Hooks by far.
God.
Damn. Of the two New Yorkers to have a hot entrance, who would have figured? It's a shame.
Well, you know what? Just like Hook, Daniel Garcia's music got Def Rebelled, and Daniel Garcia does not do his shimmy move anymore. So that's another breaking news thing.
That's right.
And he defeated Shibata with the help of Marina Shafir. So that's kind of like the highlight of the tailgate brawl.
I see.
That's it, really. That was the highlight. Good. We can
Okay.
get into the main card.
I wasn't into the 8-woman all out brawl because again, you had a stacked women's roster, like Tony Khan would say, and then you put all these 8 women there, and the one I really care about is Willow Nightingale, which again I'll kind of like explain in the all out review portion that she should be more forefront in the stories, which I think she will be in that sentiment. But again, I didn't really care. It was a street brawl and all that stuff. They were wearing pants. They were wearing their sweatpants, their fatigues. Mina Shirakawa botched a what was it, an ECW type move, like a New Jack move. So that's all the highlights I got. So Vic, the floor is yours. If you want to go off to all out.
Nice. All right. Yeah, let's do it. Well, this would probably this opening part, they do the opening package where I skipped that. I had to at the time. And we're starting off with a I don't know what you call this, a skit. It's CSC Music Factory walking through the hallowed halls of the building they're in, and wherever the Maple Leafs play, and they see this hockey player or whatever that they know as a picture on the wall, and then they look over and there he is. The real version is standing there too. Clark something Clark. And then he's like, wow, it's something Clark.
I think it was Wesley Clark, if I'm not mistaken.
Wesley Clark, Clarky.
Didn't they call him Bubbles or some shit?
No, this is, we're talking about Clarky. You're talking about, you're getting ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
I know it's very exciting. Please try to calm down, Jamie. Okay?
I didn't even know who that guy was anyway.
Well, I didn't know neither of them were. Well, actually, kind of. But
I did not know Kevin Dunn was directing this skit right now. That's just.
We knew he had to get a job somewhere. He couldn't just stay home with all that money.
Yeah, you're right.
So here comes this old hockey player from the Maple Leafs, and he wishes them the best of luck. Maybe not in their near future endeavors, I guess. And then they run into some guy named Bubbles, which I'm sure, like, if Brandon was doing the watch along for this, he would have lost his mind because he loves the Trailer Park Boys. And this was a Trailer Park Boy. And this is a Canadian thing. And even though Brandon's not Canadian, he does love it. And so this guy is from that show. And I've never seen that show, so I can't tell you how funny this was. But apparently it was really over with the people there. And then they run into, like, another guy that's a wrestler called the Green Bastard. And it's the same guy they just met, and you could tell because he has these glasses that are like 5 millimeters thick or whatever that he's wearing under the mask. So
and he had a replica 24/7 championship. It looked like
yeah, or something, right? That's what it looked. That's what it looked like. It wasn't that, but it did look like that. So they had this interaction. So like we had this build where these guys hate each other and they're really mad, and we had to have security out there, and we had to have fines the last time we saw them, like, just because we just had to keep this, we had to keep a lid on this because it was going to blow, and just combustible elements and, all this stuff. And then we're doing comedy right before, and then we get to our match where they come out with their entrance. Everybody's got to sing the Edge song.
If I just have a second, because again, you're forgetting the nuance of the sketch and the totality of the sketches. Edge, or Adam Copeland, whatever you want to call him, is trying to humanize his personal asshole in Christian Cage. That's why you see Bubbles. That's why you see the Trailer Park Boys and all this stuff. It's time to humanize his personal favorite asshole. So this way, this reunion that we all been clamoring for the last 20 years in Toronto comes to fruition at All Out. Go ahead, Pat. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, absolutely. None of that is true. Nice try. But yeah, so it's that. And then we get to our dream match, and we have, what do we have with with everything else, there they are, with everything else that we have set the stage, all the security, all the brawling, friggin' FTR trying to fight fans, all this heat.
yeah.
Everything that's been going on, which, also funny, by the way, I just glossed over it when we did those reviews, but it's like, All the fans they were trying to fight with were just laughing at him and not selling him. So, it worked out perfectly. So all this stuff that we got, and what do we get? Here we are. It's finally time. We're kicking off the show, and it's a lockup.
It's personal.
It's a blood feud, but we get a lockup.
I hate vets so much, I got to put a headlock.
That's
hate
right.
Jimmy so much, I got to do an arm drag takedown. It's personal.
And then an arm bar.
Well, anybody can just throw fists, right? Which that used to actually be their catchphrase.
That was
no flips,
actually,
just
that's
fists.
true.
And then Cashlin just started flipping all the time. But anyways, yeah, just fists. Except, no, that's too easy. We're going to beat you at our game. We're just going to out-wrestle you. That'll show you. That's the ultimate revenge. Being professional. Yeah. So.
Well, it gets
so
deeper.
So the match happened. I'll just throw it to you, Professor. Anything you'd like to say about the match?
Well, you know what? It was a 5-star match, Meltzer style. And then what escaped me was that after all that was going on, the spike pile drivers and the clusterfucks, one little spear from a 51-year-old Edge took out, was it Dax or Cash? It doesn't matter. They just took out FTR right there. One spear. That was it. After all that psychology, after all that clusterfucking, it took one little spear. It was over. Of course, we had Beth Copeland make a surprise appearance, guys. Like that wasn't expected.
Wait. Just one quick comment on that. They hit music. They have a video. She can only be called Beth on the video. No one knows what the music is.
Yeah.
Maybe a better idea would have had to just been to run out and let people figure it out because you just made it embarrassing and fake at the same time. But okay, that's your choice. All right, now continue.
You're right. I cannot even say. Tony Khan fumbled Beth's surprise appearance with music. You didn't need music. You could have had 13,000 people screaming Beth coming down the aisle or maybe coming through the crowd, which would have made a more intriguing way to make an appearance or make a debut, if you will. And then this is where Edge or Adam Copeland, whatever you want to call him, remembers his that's better, Sledge. He remembers his booking with the Judgment Day because he had to do the same shit with Beth, with FTR that he did with Judgment Day, and
exactly the same. Dude.
The acting was worse because Vince McMahon makes it a point. You're gonna act like you're gonna cry that your wife is gonna take the punishment.
He didn't even cry, bro.
He didn't cry.
Shit.
It was almost like, yeah, he didn't give a shit. It's like, hey, man, just get these cuffs off. What's going on here?
Well, because he's seen it. He's already seen this, so he's a little, he's a little. What's the word? We like disillusioned, a little bit jaded here.
He's a simp. No, he's a simp. That's what it was. He allowed his wife to get. Beth did better acting than her husband. That was what it was. Because again, she looked at him, said, "I know what I must do. I love you," and then took an ass whipping. Fine, but Edge, you did acting classes. You done Hollywood. You can cry on cue. That's what we needed. It didn't happen. I'm sorry.
I don't think he would have wanted to do that because you don't cry for a warrior that gets a warrior's death. That's what they wanted.
Dude, I bet you he would have cried for Christian Cage if they took him out worse than that.
He would have because he's skinnier than she is. So it's more sympathetic, right? She definitely was whooping their ass for a second before they finally, the numbers game, as it were, overwhelmed the lady. Defined Beth then, something.
I'm sorry. and then when you had the matriarchy make an appearance, I was expecting, I don't know if you guys was, like they were going to copy like Seth Rollins. Like he was in the wheelchair, Nick Wayne, probably was going to get up. I thought he was going to take the boot off and like run down and make the ass whooping even more predicated towards the storyline. But no, he was just sitting there like Vince McMahon back in the Attitude Era in the wheelchair, pounding out orders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wow. I just want to also welcome the Hammers in the house.
Hammer time.
What up, Hammer? Yeah, it's Hammer time, all right. Hopefully he didn't watch it all out because goddamn
well, maybe
he would be throwing hammers everywhere.
Yeah, he would have the sorry to use the phrase PTSD, but he would hear Rip ringing the bell over and over and over. Get the fuck out, get the fuck out, get the fuck out.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and like TN Couponer says, Cope should have known better. Well, since when? Since when has he ever known better? You know, like
That's
he
true.
came into AEW the shits. He's been the shits. He's still the shits. Everything he's done has been embarrassing. And that's why I've just decided to stop respecting the veterans in this case and just let him have it the way he deserves to have it. But I mean, he's rich, so much like Christian, he's rich, so it's fine. He doesn't care what I say. So that's another reason I can go. I'll only take the sifting gloves off so that I can give it to Edge. But I'll put him back on to go through the rest of this show. So yeah, you know, like Professor was saying, the Wayne showed up, the Wayne family showed up, they got the heat back, they cuff Copeland, pile drive Christian and Beth, you know, and then everybody walks out. And
still no crying.
yeah, that's fine.
No,
he's all
emotion
cried
at
out.
all. None. But David Hall says, if that wasn't as bad, meanwhile, back at the WWE WrestlePalooza ranch, The Undertaker was inducting Stephanie McMahon into the WWE Hall of Fame for the retired elderly. Not just that, how awkward was that moment, by the way, Dave? I'm just saying, that was weird, the way that was played out. I don't know if you saw that, Vet, but if you do,
No, I didn't
you're
see
gonna
anything.
cringe. You're
No,
gonna
but
cringe.
I'm sure I would. But I would also, you know, if we're talking about a Stephanie from last night, there's only one Stephanie we need to talk about. She's already in my Hall of
Yeah.
Fame. So
Oh,
congratulations.
yeah. I've got it.
Oh,
I won't
yeah,
play
man.
it, but
Oh
I've
yeah,
actually
man.
got it right
Yeah.
maybe at the end.
So, but I also want to. I just want to reiterate one point that Professor made, about how the spear finish was so unceremonious. You know, because you know, all things considered, look, I didn't pay that close attention, but I could feel the match through my skin. So, like, I got the sense that they were doing a less stupid match than both of these guys would normally do. It didn't necessarily fit the psychology of their program, or, you know, maybe it would have been a good opening match for a pay-per-view if they were both baby faces and they were doing a babyface match and all this other stuff, right? So it was okay there, but the finish did come out of nowhere and it was a little bit lame, and that's the only thing about it. But that's important because the next match is Big Bill with Big Business, Bad Apple, Bounty Hunter, Brian Bakeith at his side, versus the possible Eddie Kingston. And it turns out, yes, the Eddie Kingston. So I was intrigued because, you know, I've on the record in the past, I said,
you got a soft spot.
yeah, I there's a place for Eddie. Like, there's definitely a place for Eddie in wrestling. So I don't mind Eddie Kingston.
He's everybody's favorite underdog. He's everybody's favorite, like, normal wrestler or normal man that
Right.
people could say they can relate to. I get you.
Yeah,
But, you know,
and you know, so like, I get it, and I've been concerned because a lot of people, you know, not only did he have the injury that he has to come back from, but we all know that we all been telling Eddie that he needs to stop looking pregnant, right? He needs to lose some of that weight because it's just like a normal body and then this humongous stomach. So he just needed to really just, for his own health reasons, and safety of everyone else, just, you know, tone down that gut, please. You know, don't be diabetic. Just, you know, do what's right. And so we know that, or at least I knew that he'd been working on that, and he's on the Cesar Bononi plan or whatever. And, you know, he's supposedly been changing his eating habits. I've seen Instagram reels of him talking about it. And, you know, he's like, you know, on this program, like many people are. And then I see him come out. I'm expecting, you know, I want to see the results of his labor, and it looks like he's still might go into labor, because, you know, the gut is not gone. He's still got a gut. It's not as big. It's not as bulbous. It's not as ballooned, but it's still there. There's still work to do. So I'd like to see him continue to do that. anybody else that's considering working with Cesar Bononi, I might say that, not knowing all the facts, maybe you might want to look elsewhere if this is the results that you're going to get. If this is the after picture, I don't know if I'd be content with that for whatever he might charge. So just throwing that out there, no shade, just a suggestion. But the big deal here is the match is whatever, who cares? The point is, the second anticlimactic finish in a row, because did you guys agree that this finish also just came out of nowhere?
He didn't even execute it. He missed. Then Big Bill, God bless him, just said, you know what? That's the finish. I'll take it. Take it on the chin, which he didn't. He just, air really hurt him. Air hurt Big Bill. And then he went down flat. And then that was it. And then, of course, Def Rebel Hook comes out with his music to save the day. And now Hook is going to be aligned with Eddie Kingston. So, again, that's intriguing for the AEW tag team division. But, Eddie Kingston, the Professor's advice, 8-minute abs. Go YouTube that. It works. Just try it. It works on the Professor, but I haven't done it. I've been kind of like, I've been kind of lazy on that. But
it works if you work it.
Yeah, it works if you work it. 8-minute abs. If you can't do Cesar Bononi, do 8-minute abs. It works better. But for this match, everybody, again, you wasted a big moment. Will he or won't he by promoting this? It's not the same thing. I don't know. It's just me because, again, it could have been an open challenge. You could have gave Big Bill a bigger push by saying, I'm taking on anybody on the AEW roster. I'm taking on anybody from CMLL. And then Eddie Kingston's music could have came out and probably 13,000 people would have been screaming louder and chanting Eddie louder, knowing that he's coming down as a surprise. That's just my humble opinion.
What do you think about that, Jimmy? Do you think that would have worked? Because the people are just going to be damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? They're going to say, well, you should have advertised if Eddie Kingston was coming back if you didn't, and then then on the other hand, you got a Professor. So which one do you think? Which one do you prefer?
Well, to be fair, sorry to take that off you once again, Prof. But they kind of were advertising him coming back without actually saying it. We'll see him training in the gym, for example. You saw little vignettes of him, not like really well done or anything, but still, we saw little signs of him making a comeback. So I'm cool with it. I mean, is he going to bring any extra eyeballs, honestly? If you announced him, was that going to bring extra buyers?
It wasn't. No. That's the purpose of it, because then at least his music is very noticeable. Just like, true. Daniel Garcia's music ain't noticeable no more. Hook's music ain't noticeable no more. Eddie Kingston's music is noticeable.
Hook, man? You know what else I'm confused about with Hook? Why did he just suddenly take off, like leave the ops? You know what I mean? For no real reason, just because he felt.
No, there was a reason. Don't expose yourself.
No, yeah, he wanted to go on his own and prove a point and blah blah blah. But
that wasn't it.
What was the reason again?
Then? They squashed it. They just said
because he was upset that when he got hurt, they just replaced him with Hobbs.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. You're right. Yeah. But still, it's still not. Come on, really.
Well, he did, but to your point, he did choose to walk off. He could have stayed in the ops as a fourth person if he wanted.
And they left on good terms, I believe, right? That's the thing.
I guess good enough, yeah.
So is there a thing that's going to happen? Because I feel like the ops are going to turn heel. They just got to be heel for some reason. Do you think we could get into a program with Eddie and Hook against, say, Joe and whoever member he chooses to be with him?
Well,
Can
look,
you see that?
We have a trios title. We need trios.
No, well,
just think of it that way.
Good point. Great point.
They can work that angle in, but it can also just be, hey, you need to at least have two other people with you at any given moment in this company, because an opportunity may arise, and if you're not ready, you can't capitalize. So there you go.
Interesting. What do you do with Hook though, guys? Honestly, at this point before we move,
you give him another guy.
Fair enough.
And then we have a trio.
Why not? Just go that way.
And I want to ask Professor. I mean, can Yonkers and Brooklyn coexist? How does this work in the real world?
You know what? There's these invisible lines between Yonkers and Brooklyn and Staten Island and all that stuff there's a little bit of respect, but there's still, it's still territorial. It's like mafia code right there. So, it is what it is. So, there's respect with Yonkers and Eddie Kingston and the Red Hook section. So, and like Vet says, if you add a third person, I'm thinking off the top of my head, you got a masked man named Hologram. You should just Tony Khan should just create a masked man named Ladder, Hook and Ladder and Eddie. It works.
I like it.
Ladder, pal. Oh man,
maybe the hologram clone will have a ladder, perhaps.
Escalera or something like that. You can call him.
Yeah. So that all happened. Now we're at MJF versus Mark Briscoe in a tables and thumbtacks match, or a thumbtacks and tables match. It's a TNT match.
Vet. It was TNT.
That's right. And oh boy, was it?
And
was it ever?
And chairs, dude. This is easy by far the most thumbtacks I've ever seen in the match. But I'm a little suspicious though, guys. Did all the thumbtacks have actual tacks at the end of them?
It doesn't matter because visually the optics is there.
Yeah, I get that, but you
it's
notice
outlaw mud show bullshit.
I know,
especially
100%,
for this.
Absolutely was.
It really is, and again, logistically for me, I don't know. I mean, Vet, if you want to chime in on this too, because the night before, MJF lost a big match at CMLL's 92nd anniversary show against Mystico, and Mystico is I think the world light heavyweight champion once again, because MJF had that belt going in and he lost it because, again, you got to honor your partnership, if you will. But now he's coming in on a loss, and now he's going to lose this match against Mark Briscoe, which, again, your stock is dropping to a certain degree, again, with the fandom eyes. MJF does the right thing. He does the business. He does the honorable business stuff. But, what do you do with MJF? Again, I don't care about the tax. 50% of those tax were real. Maybe 50% of those tax were protected and all that stuff. So be it. But I'm just talking about MJF because, again, the only thing that's protecting MJF, he can lose maybe 100 matches in a row, guys, but he still has that supposed contract for that guaranteed heavyweight title shot against Hangperson Adam Page. But again, what are you going to do? You're going to just keep losing stock on MJF by taking loss after loss? Is he going to recreate the Pinnacle? Is he going to reunite with FTR? Is he going to recruit somebody from outside? But again, you can't just take losses every pay-per-view, every Dynamite, every Collision. It just doesn't help his stock. You
can if you're a worker. And MJF knows exactly what to do. The only question is he going to be allowed to do it? I think he's got enough cachet that he can call some of his shots.
For sure.
If you think back to the match he had with Wardlow where he got destroyed, right? Uh-huh. Now, I was on the record here. I don't remember what episode, so I can't tell you which one to go back and watch. You just have to look up. You just have to look up review shows with me from around that time that happened.
It was about 2 years ago now, right?
But
roughly.
Yeah, but it would have been slightly before that because what I said was MJF has to go out there and get destroyed like a squash.
And that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened because that's what needed to happen. And what needs to happen rarely ever happens. But the fact that happened, you cannot tell me that was a Tony Khan idea. No, that could only have been an MJF idea because he knows if I'm making Wardlow, this is how it's done. I've already got all my heat in the build up to this. Having a competitive match will not do me any favors in this. All they want is to see me get killed. He gave the fans what they needed. He gave the fans what they wanted. He gave himself what he needed. And here we are again. He's always in the main event mix. Years later, it hasn't mattered, right? Even though a Mark might have said, I can't believe he did that, or they did that, or whatever. If you know how to lose, you hear JR talk about it all the time. If guys know how to lose, they can get even more over. So
absolutely.
While I understand the reason that Professor, you feel like that is because that is what happens to people after they get booked to lose so many times is that there is no follow-up. There is no plan. You just lost a bunch of things and now we decided we're not going to go anywhere with you. So now you're a loser. right? MJF, it doesn't matter if he wins or lose any match, other than the context of what's next. So if what you're talking about is, I basically have, and it's been watered down now, but a Money in the Bank contract. I have a guarantee shot. I've got this title shot. If I am perceived as a loser, and then I cash this in and succeed, then I have stolen it. And I have heat because you think I don't deserve this. And now I'm your champion. And you have to deal with me every single week, talking about how I'm the champion and I'm the best. And we all mad because we just saw you lose every match you were in.
Which would have been greater if Tony Khan didn't fuck it up by saying you have to cash in 1 week prior to doing what you're talking about.
Exactly. So that tells me it's like, this is where, that's why I started this whole, side conversation with, if it's up to Max, he knows what to do, but he's still got to work within the system that he's in. So he's doing this is what chicken salad is. This is what lemonade is. If you don't get, maybe you're trying to make the lemonade you can, you just don't quite have that pinch of sugar you need for the desired sweetness, but you're doing the best that you can. That's what wrestling is, and that's every wrestler. But what sets the great ones apart is the ability to produce the best tasting chicken salad and the best tasting lemonade possible. Not that it tastes better than the best possible. And then if you got a chef that actually gives you ingredients, oh man, now we're cooking. But
that's the best
unfortunately
food you've never eaten in your life. Yes.
Yeah, that's what we get in today's wrestling landscape. You're asking more people to be chicken salad and lemonade chefs, and the ingredient quality is just on a precipitous downfall. So, and now it's like, and now the chefs aren't being trained properly. So now they got to make the recipe without having been taught the recipe. The recipe hasn't been handed down through the generations correctly. It's like a game of telephone. The message is distorted at the end, and now we're trying to do our best. So I don't know how many more metaphors I can mix into this long-winded explanation, but suffice to say, I think MJF will be all right in general. So it's all about, but it's all about that's where the a la carte comes in. It's like, I don't care about AEW's booking. I don't care about AEW as an entertainment product. I don't care about any of that stuff. What I care about is first and foremost, the health and well-being of everybody. And then I am also entertained by the best chicken salad and lemonade chefs. That's why I like the MJFs. That's why I like the Okadas. That's why I like the CEOs. I like people that are put in these positions that are good, and some people don't see how good they really are because without the proper context of who are they working with? Who are they working with in the ring? Who are they working with behind the scenes? They're doing the best that they can. So that's where I get my entertainment anymore. As far as like wrestling being fun and entertaining as a product, I think that train left the station many years ago now. So.
Absolutely. I mean, people, the chefs right now are cooking via TikTok. It's 45-second TikToks. The food looks good after 45 seconds, but it doesn't take 45 seconds to cook a masterful meal. A masterful
especially
chicken. Yeah,
especially chicken, prof,
especially when you've just edited that. When you've just edited that last shot where you got the takeout and you put that on instead of what you was messing around with in the kitchen, right?
Hey, I do bad editing jobs, guys. I'm sorry.
So, yes, the important thing here is that Mark Briscoe gets a much needed win with a J Driller
on the tax.
I was happy about
in the
that,
tax.
Problem though with that. And you mentioned all that, what you just said about, the good chefs. I just don't see any good chefs, cooking up a storm for Mark Briscoe, unfortunately, even after this big win. And that's what sucks, man. I just don't see it.
Mark Briscoe is still a top chef. So
absolutely, he is.
Whatever we get, it'll be. Yeah, I know it's not what he deserves, but it'll be good for us at least a little bit.
For the short term.
Yeah. But and the guys had a good match for this type of match. You guys know I don't like this match, this type of match.
Actually told a story, believe it or not.
Right.
what's
And as
funny,
far as
you know what I
the
mean?
as far as the thumbtacks thing, like, what is a fake thumbtack?
I just felt like at one point, once they all started coming out, like they weren't really attaching to the body as
Well, I
much
mean, what would
anymore.
it? Well, I'm just saying, what would it even be? What would you put into place? Sequins? Like what? What else is there? What is there that's like a thumbtack but not have a tack in it? You know what I mean? Like,
plastic
of
ones?
course, huh?
There's plastic ones. Have you seen them? They're
No.
like plastic.
Well,
But
I
they
mean,
don't do any
the
damage,
push
though.
pins, yeah.
Yeah, like sort of like not those, not the push pins. the
Right,
literal
right.
ones.
It can't be those.
It's like they're used for like
If
like
that was
bad
the
screws.
but Jimmy, if that was the case, they should have just put gummy bears. It should have
yeah,
been
but they weren't
thumbtacks.
using
It should have been-
those. They weren't using.
should have been 1,000 gummy bears on the mat, and then you could have done all that stuff like the Young Bucks did a
Yeah.
pay-per-view ago.
What Liz said is exactly what I was just about to say. They probably snipped them. Then that's what they would
No,
have done.
absolutely
You don't
no. What kind of mark shit is that, dude? So
No.
whose job was it to snip 6 million thumbtacks right before the fucking pay-per-view? Get the fuck out of here. Nobody's
Hey,
doing
you
that
never
shit.
know.
Just get stabbed. The reason they fall out is because they're moving and they didn't pierce the skin deeply enough.
In defense to Jimmy, we know Tony Khan will overpay his wrestlers. He will overpay his staff. He will overpay his caterers. I'm sure if Tony Khan took a help wanted ad on Google saying, I need somebody to cut 6,000 thumbtacks to make it safe for my wrestlers, I would do that as long as the check clears. I'm sorry.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Heck, so would I, just quietly.
Yeah, well,
pay
the
me,
point
I'll
the
do it.
point is not the expenditure of money. It's the point of
Right.
like, why waste your
Doing
time
it.
for something that nobody's
Right.
even going to see? Yeah, it's
That's
just
true.
thumbtacks. They just put thumbtacks in there. That's much easier. They filled buckets of thumbtacks. Great. Even that was probably tedious. Have you ever bought thumbtacks? Like, where do you get bulk thumbtacks? You buy like the little cases of them that you get at the hardware
Yeah,
store,
the
or whatever, and then
cases.
you'd probably have to dump like 400 of those into these buckets and everything else. Like, that would have been tedious enough without talking about snipping.
Scan
I'm
the
sure-
QR code, guys. Scan the QR code for thumbtacks. That's all you got to do.
I'm
at
sure
Home
they would have
Depot.
gone to a wholesaler where they make it anyway
Right.
and ordered fucking, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think the dollar store, Bone Collector, I don't think the dollar store would have even had enough thumbtacks in stock as
way.
what they had last night.
No
you know,
way.
you had to go to
They
every
had-
dollar store in town, and you still would have had like enough for one bucket.
That was a lot of thumbtacks, man. I've never seen that many in my life. So yeah, there's no chance.
Yeah. Anyways, funny enough, they're still running angles on this long ass pay-per-view because Jerry Lynn decides to take it upon himself to book an Acclaimed reunion next week against these guys' wishes. Like, I don't know why they're out there arguing shirtless in the parking lot if they weren't booked, but I mean, whatever.
Get a
Like,
room already for
Yeah,
crying
just-
out loud.
jeez.
Jesus.
So,
Hey, Liz hit the nail on the head, by the way. Timu thumbtacks.
Temu
100%
thumbtacks?
you can buy in bulk. She's 100%.
all right. Well, you guys go take a picture of that on the Temu store.
I
You know,
will.
at
You know
Opinion
what?
Haver, you can at me with all of your thumbtack orders from Temu, everywhere else.
I'm
Show me
telling you,
what's the
she's
biggest amount you could buy at once.
I'm telling you, Liz, do it. I'm telling you, show him because she's right. I'm telling you now. Guaranteed.
I'm an Amazon Prime member, vet, so I'll check on the thumbtacks there. So I got you.
Well, actually, she brings up an interesting point with the Temu. Now, those could have been legit thumbtacks that because it's Temu, they're just cheap and they broke. The piece broke off after they stabbed the guy. So now, Mark Briscoe and MJF have tiny little needles all in their bodies. So
100%.
yeah,
I'm trying
definitely
to.
get that checked out, guys. Make sure you get all your tetanus shots and everything else.
And they've found some weird shit in Timu products. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Now,
Anyway.
speaking of made out of steel, I don't know. The Hurt Syndicate. I don't know how to transition. The Hurt Syndicate versus the Demand. How do you guys like that as a name, Jimmy?
I like it. I like
Yeah?
it actually, and I like this match a lot. Funny enough, and
Okay.
another surprising finish. To be
another
fair,
outcome,
which is
yeah.
odd.
Professor
I
the
enjoyed
Demand.
this
How does that strike you?
Did you say that on the Wreckage weeks ago?
Who, me?
The Demand?
Yeah. You
No,
know how you come up with these names. So I'm thinking.
I said Rick Away. That was my.
Yeah,
that was
no,
my
you love
comment.
the man.
My comedic. So yeah, no, the demand. That's part of their catchphrase. They've been saying that's not a request, that's a demand. You know, that they've been finishing promos with stuff like that. So there you go. Now they've incorporated. I guess it's cool. They got the One Piece Admiral capes they got on. You know, they're all uniform now, looking clean. I'll say that they look cool, like as a trio.
Hey,
I like all
made
these guys.
into $1 million.
Dude, I like all these. I like these 6 guys. This is
Yeah,
a la
me
carte.
too.
This is, you know, I'm taking it. The
Ricochet
match is
took
whatever,
some-
but
No, the match was good, man. Like,
yeah.
In
well,
its own
I'm
way.
just saying, yeah, it was good. I'm just saying, like, whether it's good, whether it's bad,
Right.
I'm just
It doesn't
happy that
matter.
they're out there
Right.
getting some time, right, and doing
Absolutely.
some stuff. Yeah. So luckily, it was good. And the surprising part, as you were saying, was, you know, MVP is there, and he takes the pin, of course, because if anybody's gonna get beat in the
Makes
Hurt
sense.
Syndicate, it's gonna be MVP, and they still cheated, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Spirit gun on MVP, but yeah, the Demand gets a quality win here.
Quality, not a strong win, but a quality win. Exactly.
Right, and
you're
now
right, because-
for the first time, some doubt is cast on the Hurt Syndicate as far as like, well, they're not invincible. If they've got the old man in there, they can be beat.
Right.
So, how did you
And then
feel
you
this
know-
all? You liked it, Jimmy, right?
I
Anything
really
else to
enjoyed
add?
it for whatever reason, because they were just all big hustlers going at it, man. Except for, of course, Ricochet. But seeing Shelton and was it Kona? I think that I can't remember which one it was, but man, they were just attacking each other, bro. When they were just what were they doing? Trying to clothesline each other's heads off. At one point, they were absolutely belting the shit out of each other. For me, Shelton was really the impressive one in this match. I really enjoyed what he was doing. And heck, even MVP actually done pretty well in this match. He even gave us a good old ballin',
Yep.
which I hadn't seen in years. I thoroughly enjoyed this match, man, for whatever reason. And I'm surprised by the victors. But should I be? Maybe not. But about time, though.
I wasn't surprised that the Demand won. The Demand needed to win because again,
Yeah.
you know, the optics was there because MVP was the storyline lamb to take the pin or
Right.
eat the pin, whatever the case may be. But if you want the man to be on TV more and more, maybe for the trios title against the Ops, maybe down the road, so be it. But you know, I'll go in a different direction, guys, in my opinion, because again, with social media and the IWC, as intelligent as they are, they've always speculated that the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin, since coming into AEW, has all of this quote unquote creative control. And it was kind of spearheaded with all this logic about them not taking losses from FTR or other tag teams.
I don't
But
buy that.
But they were willing to take the loss to the Demand. And I forget their
Right.
names, Jimmy, so it escapes me. I'm sorry. But
The
I
Gates of
mean,
Agony?
yeah, the Gates. Well, their names. I know the Gates of Agony. I just don't know their names. But neither here nor
For
there.
everyone
But
listening, Bishop Khan, Toa Leona, and Ricochet.
I know
Oh,
Ricochet,
yeah.
but thank you very much.
I
But
know what you're saying, Prof, because I can easily forget him too.
if,
It's weird.
if the Gates of Agony were the team that the Hurt Syndicate are willing to take the loss, then why not have them lose those tag titles? Again, I know that. I know Tony Khan has a plan. I understand that. He goes from A to B, and we don't know where
Not
he
to
wants to
see,
go.
but that's the thing.
But I'm just going. I'm sorry, but hypothetically, when you had those tag team titles, my God, the Gates of Agony, and the Demand. What a way to really, the stock would rise to beat the Hurt Syndicate, fuckery or whatever, for those tag titles. That's just me. I'm sorry.
I do
can see
agree.
that.
I do
Right.
agree. As of last night, it was way too late. And as far as when we talk about stock prices rising and falling, Gates of Agony's stock price has fallen so far since the foundation of AEW that we really gotta make sure it's somewhat believable for them to get. It can't just be overnight. So this is a start, hopefully, of things to come. But you'd also added the MVP in the mix as the infirm, old, washed up, guy.
Old Dog Yeller.
Yeah, you didn't actually really beat the real Hurt Syndicate.
Right,
You just beat
right.
the manager is the thing. And it was good. It actually, whether they meant to or not, or whether they realized it or not, it was a good a good poetic justice, because if you remember when MVP ran in and hit the cane shot on Ricochet when they were still in ECW arena
It was from back
so
then.
now it's kind of like, fuck you. Now you had to, you got to.
And they explained that too, which was good for once. They don't usually do that. They showed you the past incidents and why it's led to this, which is rare for AEW to do. This is actually long-term storytelling done actually pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. I go with that.
So yeah, it's intriguing, but here you had two teams that you look at these guys, if you had a tag team division, you're the cornerstones of it, or if you have a trios division, you're the cornerstones of it. Either way, two cornerstones facing off, but it would have been nice to have a better build, like Professor is saying. Riho versus...
I just want to say one more thing, and then we'll go into the Rio match. But the Hurt Syndicate does need that third youthful wrestler in the group. I think if it was I don't know if you want to say Kevin Knight, or I would be like, yo, reunite Leo Rush into the fold, because I used to love him with Bobby Lashley. Oh, it was Lashley. That's just me. I'm sorry, but you need a more youthful wrestler, not MVP taking that pin. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, again, I will say this though, just as a counterpoint, that's all in the presentation. If you have MVP to be the guy that when it's called upon to take the loss, yes, but you also have to present him as a threat as well. So that it's not just like, oh, you're the obvious old job guy. You have to have him beat people. You have to have him be at least a more active part of it going in. And they haven't done that to this point for whatever reason, but that is how you would get around that. It would make it more intriguing if there's doubt. It's always more intriguing with doubt. Speaking of doubt, Riho, can the greatest AEW Women's Champion of all time
God damn it,
pull it off once more for the secondary title against the alleged greatest TBS champion of all time? Or I don't even know if she's tried to allege that. I don't recall. But the point is, we have a classic battle here. And
they had a lot of Chippendales too, by the way, in the entrance.
I want to say this before you put your expert analysis on this match. Even though for me this was a bathroom match, because I went to the bathroom, it was good shit though. But I'll say this:
it was not too bad, man.
Me and Vet had a great discussion on a previous Wreckage, and we were talking about Sasha Monet's reign. And one thing I remember crystal clear, I said to the Vet was, she never cheated to win. But lo and behold, out of all these 20 title defenses, Jimmy, it took this one. It took 98 pounds of Riho to make Mercedes Moné, quote unquote, cheat or take a shortcut. I remember no other time she did this with maybe Thunder Rosa or Willow Nightingale or Chris Statlander a couple of times. But 98 pounds of Riho, guys, she had to do a shortcut. What the hell? Are they protecting Riho that much? Because she was the first AEW Women's Champion?
First and greatest. I would have to counter any of those other names you said been the AEW Women's Champion, including Mercedes.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
She's a two-timer. The great
two-timer.
Hall of Famer. Future AEW Hall of Famer, first ballot, Riho.
Hey, I'm not even laughing because he's telling facts.
He's saying that with a straight face. I applaud you, man.
Because in the universe that they have created for themselves, that is the booking.
Yes.
She might as well be Brock Lesnar in this mug. Because she was the one that was beating the Nyla Roses and I'm sure she's beat Chris Statlander in the past, and anybody that had any sort of height and size has fallen to little Riho.
She's beating everybody, man, for sure.
But
easy.
All joking aside, which that wasn't even a joke. Tell me when I'm telling lies. But
yeah.
But for this match, you actually now have okay, well, we got a same size match here. We got a competitive, fair match, right? So Yes. So to Professor's point, yes, you are protecting Riho's legacy by having, Monet have to, reach into her bag of tricks for something she hasn't needed recently. So yeah, that's your concession to Riho for saying, I'm sorry, but please, job, please, like
job now,
yeah.
please.
So yeah, that's that. And or it's just a little more depth for Mercedes, like, okay, now she's doing this and it's probably going to be more, hopefully. Okay. Now if we're taking it from here and you're handing me the pencil, I'm saying she's going to get more and more desperate as time goes on to cling on to the TBS title and all these other titles until which time you start losing titles and it gets more desperate until you finally are down to your last title and, whatever. But so, yeah, but in this match, like as far as the match itself goes, again, I didn't have like an eagle eye on it. I felt the match. I thought it was pretty good, like for what they've been both doing. Like Rio's always in there with some people that are like, yeah, it's not believable. Mercedes always in there trying to do too much with somebody that can't do it, So now you finally got people that are not only on equal footing physically, but they're equal footing as like Mercedes doesn't need to. I don't think Riho's the get her shit in type that says a bunch of like, oh, it would be cool, as Stevie Richards would say. So they can do what they can do, and I thought they did it for the most part. And it was a lot of just wrestling too, like just some mat stuff. So it was good. I thought it was fine, but what did you think, Jim?
The crowd was really dead for some reason in this match. Like they were just dead. I don't know. That's how it came across.
The crowd,
for me, but I enjoyed
crowd,
the match.
Jimmy, the crowd was dead. The first match they were into it, and by the time it was the last match, everything in the middle was just moves.
It was after the MJF. It was really after the MJF Mark Briscoe match that it really like just died out for whatever reason. But you're right. But look at the way they structure all their matches. I mean, and the matches that they have. Do we need 5 blood matches, for example, in one pay-per-view? Not that there was 5, but if that was smart, you have one main event, whatever your main event is going to be, or you just have one blood and guts match, and then build for the other one to be a main blood and guts match later on. For example, the Briscoe MJF match or the Moxley and Darby match. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but instead they love to put everything all in one. They just chuck everything in. No wonder why the crowd's like this. That's why I've always said that AEW has always done bipolar booking, because it comes across very bipolar, man. It's like this.
I mean, you can't ask people to watch a thumbtack match and then watch a triple meat match and then give them these two, like right here.
Right.
But in fairness, there was a dueling Riho and CEO chant. So
was it? I didn't even know.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, let's go Riho CEO. Yeah, it was there.
Maybe, yeah.
So they weren't totally dead, but they did settle down, after a while. But also they weren't necessarily doing a bunch of high spots. But when Rio was like jumping on Mercedes, like the double stomps off the apron and off the announcer table, they were popping on that because that shit hurts. And they know it.
I mean, yeah. But Rio was good though, man. But really, Mercedes had to work her ass off, man.
Yeah.
I mean, by the end of the match, she had no makeup on. literally, man. So I enjoyed it for sure.
Yeah. Nice. Any other closing thoughts, Professor?
I ranted as I said with you previously.
All right. So yeah, she cheated and moneymaker, and sorry, Riho.
She sold
next
that
match
well too, by the way. Kudos to Riho.
Yes. Next match, Dorado versus Takeshita versus Okada for the Unified Championship. Exactly. I had to remember which one.
But
the Imperial Margarine Championship. That one.
That's it. That's the one.
Or wait, no, that was the other one. Well, anyway, point is, it was a triple threat match, and the whole thing was like, oh my God, how many times is Okada and Takeshita going to stare at each other?
I
lost count, but lie. Yeah. So, I mean, the guys did stuff. It was fine. Okada won. Rainmaker to Dorada. We knew where that was going. Any further comment? Jimmy, you look like you got
Well, I got this actually very wrong. I did say, well, I felt that Dorado, obviously we all knew Dorado was there to eat the pin, but I just felt that it was Takeshita's time to win for once. Since he won the G1, they're hyping up, how Okada's the number one tournament wrestler of all time in professional wrestling. I just felt like, well, yeah, okay, but look at not that he's a kid because he's in his 30s, to be fair. Again, I had to take that to be fair. But, he is the new up-and-coming Japanese rising star in Japan.
Jimmy, I know where this is going. I know Tony Khan, at least with this one. From A to B, it's about Takeshita going into the Continental Classic and then winning it all the finals against Okada. It's built for that. That's all it is.
Absolutely. I didn't think of that yet, so you're right. But that's exactly where it's going to go. I just felt like maybe Takeshi gets his win here, but I guess not. And we will build to the Continental Classic for sure.
Well, we've definitely built to this next match.
Oh.
It's a coffin match.
Oh, boy.
It's Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin. I'm going to the Professor first. Going to the Professor first.
Well, from that sit-down interview, 60-minute style between Bryan Danielson and Darby Allin, that's where the intrigue started because it was all about Bryan Danielson, the look, the disdain he has for Jon Moxley, the disdain he has for the Death Riders. And when you look at this coffin match, that this was Jon Moxley's first coffin match, and this was Darby Allin's sixth coffin match, you would think Darby has the psychological edge. He has the coffin match experience, if you will. But of course, Jon Moxley, well, I don't want to use the WWE term, but
wait. Just one real quick thing.
Go ahead.
Because you said WWE. The reason Jon Moxley has no coffin match experience is because The Undertaker wasn't going to work with his ass. All right, continue.
Exactly.
You're right. Absolutely right on that. But from taking the WWE term, he's the architect of the Death Riders. So he had a plan in place and all that stuff, Plan A was to get Claudio and Wheeler and Daniel Garcia and Marina Shafir and all that stuff. And then, of course, that's what you thought. For the fans, that's what you thought. It was all them. But yet, we forgot that there was another member of the Death Riders who would come out and make a surprise appearance, and his name was Timothy Thatcher. Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't Timothy Thatcher. It was
Willie from Simpsons.
He was mini Timothy Thatcher, but it was the Bastard Pack making a return. So this way he gets the win in this coffin match. But again,
he looked like a bum. I hate to say it, man.
I said it before on the Wreckage. I'll say it again, that this match would have been more intriguing for the Professor if this was Darby Allin's supposed payoff for all the shit he took at the Hammerstein Ballroom, going down a flight of stairs, metaphorically, and the analogy was he went down the mountain and then he had to climb the mountain again, and this would have been for the AEW World Championship. And then if he comes up short, so be it. At least it would be more intriguing if this was for the AEW World title.
They learn how to capitalize on shit like that, Professor. You know this. Tony doesn't understand that.
Of course,
unfortunately.
Well, I heard just to fast forward a tiny bit and then come back. I heard multiple times throughout the main event what a great job Hangman was doing as champion. So you're going to have to kind of knock all that off, Professor. You're wrong here. Clearly, the announcers were saying how great he was, so you're wrong.
If they have to remind you,
wrong,
then he's
Professor, wrong.
Then he's not doing a great job. That's all it is.
Exactly. You can't work me, guys. Jimmy, what'd you think of this? Did you enjoy this coffin match very much?
For what it was, fine, you know what I mean? Because really what cringed me was just seeing Darby taking all those bad spots, man. Mm-hmm. Like, he was just getting thrown around like nothing. And then again, we got the ear spot on Moxley and the biting. Mm-hmm. What is this? Is this freaking the dog collar match from back in the 80s?
But Jimmy, at least Darby got a semblance of revenge. He got Moxley to bleed. Whoa, that's the breaking news. He got Moxley to bleed in the match, but he got the ear part.
In the head.
He got the ear part. He stabbed him in the head, and of course the bag, the vigilantism
was holding pretty much like he's an accessory to the freaking.
Yeah, we got to see the ultimate reveal. Danielson hands Darby a bag. and he unzips the bag to reveal another bag. A smaller, clearer, plasticer bag.
Oh, fucking hell, that popped me though, man. I'm not gonna lie.
And then
it's fucking crazy.
You waste a perfect opportunity, guys, for the birth of Darby Taker. He's in the coffin.
Yeah.
The lights should go off. Something.
I was waiting for Taker.
Something spiritual should happen, or we should see Sting come down from the heavens. It's Sting to save Darby, or some shit like that. Something supernatural. But no, Tony fumbled. I hate
even
to use
the
that term.
hologram.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying. But Darby Taker should have been born here.
Sting.
He loves turning off the lights too for no reason. Which
Sting is just like, I only said I retired from bell to bell action. I can still show up and hit people with stuff. Yeah,
of course.
And then literally Shivani has a fit, like he's on the floor. It's Sting. You know what I mean? Like, just shaking.
Yeah, we didn't get any of that. What we got was like we laid out already. Pac returns. Everybody's like, "Who the hell is that?" And they're like, "Oh, I see. He just cut his hair." And then he did the border toss to Darby from inside the ring to outside on the coffin. Gross.
Ouch.
And then he bagged up Darby, not with the plastic bag that he tried to kill John Moxley with, but with a body bag. And he body bagged him up and then boxed him up. So he's bagged and boxed and ready to go. And
where's he sending him?
Well, we'll find out because that's a little bit. Before that, we get Mark Briscoe backstage, and he has decided he's riding high off the thumbtack adrenaline, and he wants to challenge Don Callis' family to a match, and any three of his bums versus me, and Hologram, who's right there, the real one, I think. And
I'm not sure.
Yeah, and then Kyle O'Reilly was on the phone with somebody, and he says, "Is he gonna make it?" And Kyle O'Reilly says, "Whatever." So, oh my God, who's coming back? Who says we got two? We have a dearth of baby faces. We're getting one back, baby. We're getting one back. So
I just want to say hello to Malaka Jones. I wonder who that is. I wonder who that is. But anyway, thank you for joining us, Malaka.
Okay. We could do this next one real quick.
Please.
It's Tony Storm versus Tekla versus Statlander versus Jamie Hayter. And probably the biggest shock of the night, Statlander seatbelts Tony and is your new AEW Women's Champion. She's chasing Riho now.
Consistent storytelling, at least. I'll say that. At least, the overtures of Wheeler Yuta and the Death Riders to have her join the Death Riders, and Wheeler Yuta eats pins all the time, but yet she uses his move to get the AEW Women's Championship. This was the shot in the arm. I'm going to say I applaud Tony Khan for doing that, because they needed an injection in this AEW Women's division. With Statlander being the champion, so be it. At least now you got Willow Nightingale, who is a consistent babyface who needs that TV time. It opens it up again, and then you have all these plethora of challengers. Tekla, maybe Jamie Hayter. Again, everything opens up with a win by Chris Statlander being the new champion. I just think I'm hoping for the best, Vet. I know that I'm saying that. I'm just wishing for the best, but I know the reality will kick in, and then it'll go down to it'll be Mercedes Moné, and then it will be Statlander, and maybe a sprinkle of Tony. But then I'm just saying. I'm positivity right now. I'm a positive thinker, Vet. I'm just saying. I'm sorry.
It's hard.
Jimmy doesn't look like he shares your positivity. What do you got to say?
Yeah, no, because they're gonna ruin it anyway. I mean, they've already ruined it. I'm sick of Toni Storm right now too, right? In many ways, I think her character's starting to, I don't want to say get stale, but it's kind of getting stale. If she's not going to start doing like a different decades as an actress, like for example, she moves into the 70s and she plays the 70s version of timeless Toni Storm. Well,
Jamie Hayter's already doing that, but
well, that's true. She's the 70s runner. She's that 70s guy, literally, or chick at this point. No offense, Mike Awesome, God rest his soul, but God damn it, she's the fat guy Thriller at this point. But,
oh no,
and Oh, imagine that if they.
Well,
did
I'm
that
sure
if
plenty
only-
of fat guys are thrilled by her. Yeah,
Mhm.
But anyway,
they may not get
she's
to act
not
out on
interesting.
it, but you know.
I mean, she's so not interesting though, Jamie Hayter at all. Like
Well,
really.
Well, that's
There's
why she
nothing
didn't
to
win.
it.
So,
Thank God.
you know, here we
right.
go. Yeah, this was weird. It was random. I do find it funny. To Professor's point about the storytelling, I do find it hilarious that it's like, well, it's the Death Riders. These are the kidnappers. These are the assaulters. These are the attempted murders. These are the arsonists. These are all the other things.
Thieving.
And the only thing they could give Statlander was a clean wrestling move idea. Like, that's
Good
pretty
work.
funny. So, anyways, there you go. Now the opposite of a clean wrestling move. It's a ladder match with 4 tag teams in it. It's Joshi Cero versus the Bucks versus Jet Speed versus Brodito. What can you say? Guys fall off stuff and through stuff. It's the guys with the masks win. After, I mean, well, you know.
I
all that
will
stuff.
I will say this, Vet, during the match. I don't know if it was a brain fart by Mike Bailey. It was a couple of brain farts, but when you're on the top of the ladder and you're basically 1 inch away from theoretically grabbing the belts, but yet your commentators are trying to save it by saying, well, in the heat of the moment, they want to take out their opponents. Motherfucker, I have the belts right here. That's the way I take you out. I'm winning the match. I can literally grab it, but no, I want to do a powerbomb off the top of the ladder. I want to do a Mexican destroyer off the top of the ladder. But I'm right there. My hands are touching the belts. My head is literally hitting the belt straps. But no.
You know why? It's
why?
because he's hardcore.
All
All right, that's why. Prof,
Yeah.
you should know this. Come on.
Yeah, well, you know, that's kind of. So anyway, the post match. So yeah, Brodito wins and fucks off. They don't care. They won. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's
it.
cool. For some reason, the Young Bucks hang around. Well, why were they hanging around? Who cares about them? I'll tell you who cares about them. Jack Perry. Remember him? He used to be a boy from a jungle, and then he was
And
a
now he's
goat
man.
from the Scape, and now he's just a
Boy.
guy in the ring, and he tries to attack the Young Bucks, and then they end up kicking the shit out of him, and then by the time that they're about to give him the BTE trigger, the lights go out, and then oh, by the way, when Jungle Jack was attacking the Young Bucks, for some strange reason, Rocky Romero jumped in and tried to help. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. He just wanted to get some shit in, go into business for himself, get some more airtime. But with his chalk line 3 Amigos jacket, but you know, there he was, and he got shit canned pretty quick. And then yeah, so yeah, lights go out. A movie plays on the screen. It's Luchasaurus on a table getting injected with some, I'm sure, totally legal non-anabolic substance by Jack Perry. And
It was some Tyrannosaurus serum to go.
I see.
To inject into his body.
Right. So anyway, now the lights come back on, and he's in the ring, and he double choke slams the Young Bucks, and he's got a belt that says Kill Switch on it, and he takes it off, and Jack tells him throw it in the crowd, so he throws it in the crowd, and then we get a hug, a Jurassic hug, if you will. It's maybe an express of some kind, and we get a song that you may have heard, you know, in popular music and maybe in wrestling shows in the past. So now that we have this moment, we know that this was probably ruined to a degree by the fact that Nick Wayne went ahead and broke his foot, because that had to make Luchasaurus come back early and fill in a spot. So, because clearly the way this played out was like supposed to be a big surprise return and a reunion. Well, it would have been a double surprise return, but instead it was only half a surprise return because Luchasaurus has been around, you know, involved in other people's business.
I have to admit, guys, that this reunion of Jurassic Express is way bigger than the reunion of CNC Music Factory. It just leaps and bounds way ahead of the CNC Music Factory reunion.
Leaps and bounds.
Which Luchasaurus was definitely involved in.
Of course.
Yeah.
Who cares about these two anyway, man? Is that the best they can do? See how lazy that is? We're going to forget that he got kidnapped. Do you remember? He got kidnapped. He was left for dead. That was the last we saw of the GOAT. And then what? He's just back as Jungle Jack once again. And wait a minute. That's right.
But Jimmy, it's funny you say that because
myself. Sorry.
No, it's funny you say that because again, I have to go with the logic and reasoning. I mean, all the storytelling of Jack Perry being the scapegoat and the darker side of himself, and being aligned with the elite and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, he's got a shave now. I see that. You know, he wants to be Jungle Boy to a T. He's got to shave off that beard. It doesn't make sense. I can't call him Jungle Jack Perry. I got to call him Jungle Boy. And we must get back that other.
Then we could call him Luke after that, maybe if he cuts his hair too.
Luke Jr. You call him Luke Perry Jr. I would love that. We would love that. I'm just saying, but again, with all the working pieces not coming together, I mean, the kill switch turning into Luchasaurus again. Like I said, they turned him off.
They literally turned him off.
I'm just saying, again, the injuries, the health ailments, we know that it was supposed to be a payoff against Christian Cage and all that stuff. But again, with this, you're going into the well of something that technically, it wasn't Canada. So Canada is trying to make it make sense. Canada is backwards in their thinking and saying, oh, this shit is over with Jurassic Express. But if this backwards. Yes, but if this happened in America, if this happened in Philly, they're like, wait, we're really going back to Jurassic Express, guys? Really? This is what you want to do? Everybody, if it happened in America, everybody like, yo, this is why CM Punk left. This is why CM Punk is watching in Indianapolis on his monitor like, this is what they're doing? This is why I got fired? This is why I got fired, guys. Look at this. Look what they're doing on TV.
In danger, okay? Prof.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, well, cry me a river, Professor. Okay, so let's just let them wallow in it. Okay, we can move on. So John Moxley sends the Death Riders on ahead. You guys go ahead, get in the truck and get out of here. And then he yells to the cameraman, "You also get out of here." But the cameraman already knows what's going to happen. He knows the spot, so he has to stick around. And then just when John Moxley's about to attack the cameraman, out pops Darby Allin, hits John Moxley with the pipe that he took into the coffin with him. He was just biding his time, waiting for his moment. Hits John Moxley, puts him in the body bag, and just lights him on fire a little bit, just a little bit. It's a little bit of fire for John Moxley, no big deal. Immediately, it looked like people were expecting this because they came in immediately with fire extinguishers. So, it was interesting how they knew exactly what he was going to do, I guess. But, that happened. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, time for our main event, a regular wrestling match. And that's what we got with Hang Person versus Kyle Fletcher. Or in other words, an empty-headed dipshit versus Hang Person. I mean, whatever. Like, any way you want to look at this. You know what I was thinking about with all the stuff that's been going on as far as like, okay, Stevie Richards makes a video. Right. Kyle Fletcher makes a response. Stevie Richards has to respond to the response.
Did you see that response?
Everybody else chimes in. This is just a thing, right? And the whole time I'm when I'm actually thinking about it, I'm like, and I'm listening to, like Stevie's like putting him over. And I'm just like, Stevie really is just the nicest guy in wrestling. Oh, just the nicest guy. Because it's not even worth it. Like, to even try to, like, defend yourself or anybody else against this guy. Like, no. Everybody's right. This guy ain't shit. Don't call him a superstar. Don't call him money. Don't call him anything.
Backtracked a little bit, Vet. I hate to say it. They kind of
He's a fucking cheese sandwich. Okay. Let me put it to you this way. This is what I was thinking about when I, I'm like, because the talk was like, talk about him going to NXT. What would he be like in the WWE system? And I'm thinking it's like, WWE's got at least 5 of you. One of them is Miles Bourne. Miles Bourne looks pretty much exactly like you, and he's deaf, and he could still listen to advice better than you. So why would anybody even need a Kyle Fletcher when you just already got a Miles Bourne under contract?
Oh boy, it's so true though.
I don't see any money on Kyle Fletcher unless you're just going to force it. So, but Jimmy's the only, the one person that can confirm that. I've been saying that for several years. It's not like I just started saying this just now to like in a retaliatory fashion or whatever. You guys could check the tapes.
Is Kyle Fletcher untapped potential? I'll say yes, he is.
You think
Again,
so?
Yeah, he is. Again, he has a look, he has a presence, and the chemistry that he could have with Don Callis. Is it money worthy? Yeah, it can be.
He does have good chemistry with him. I'll give him that.
There's potential with it to make money. That's the bottom line, guys. So I can say
he's
that.
Getting overhyped by the sickos, man, especially. Like they're overhyping him.
Again, getting overhyped by the sickos is the worst drug to do. It's the worst drug to be addicted to. It is what it is. But what is holding Kyle Fletcher back, besides like the indie logic that he's doing all the time, is his voice. I'm sorry to say that, but when he cuts a promo, his voice makes him sound like a child. It makes him sound like
high pitch, fucking
very high,
sort of fucking right.
I mean, if Randy Orton had Kyle Fletcher's voice, Randy Orton would not have the legacy that he has. He would have been mid card and in the bottom. Everything is presentation. It's the voice.
I've said that about his voice all the time. I can't stand his voice, man, and I'm Australian myself, but like.
And I could go one step further, Jimmy and Vet, because even the way his face looks, y'all seen the Toy Story, right? Y'all seen Toy Story. Look at his face. He either looks like Andy or the bully. I mean, if I look at that, I close my eyes, like, yo, man,
his balls haven't dropped yet, even though he's a big guy. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, dude. It's true though.
It is. It's just the presentation matters. That's why there is holes in Kyle Fletcher, but there is untapped potential. But again, the formula and the chemistry between himself and Don Callis. But again, the weakness of the Don Callis family is like there's 500 people within the Don Callis family. So, again, and Kyle Fletcher is not the quote unquote leader, the main figurehead.
He's the third guy, probably.
We don't know, because Don Callis, the characterization of the Don Callis family is Don Callis is benefiting off of all the services of these guys that he has employed under him. That's all it is.
Well, Malaka Jones says he sounds like when you eat helium out of a balloon.
How do you do that, with like a knife and fork, or like?
Yeah, you can't eat it, Malaka.
Well, anyway, yeah. So, well, I mean, I guess, yeah. Of course, he has untapped potential in the sense that anybody that doesn't have their potential tapped is untapped, and also it would come at great expense to people that could make more money easier and better and with less effort put into Kyle Fletcher. You have to put so much more effort and time into him than so many other people that are better than him. So,
but
it's not worth it.
Though, guys, sorry to interrupt. He's only been a singles guy for a very short amount of time. We got to remember that, man. He's always been in the tag team.
Yeah,
the best thing that
I've
ever
seen
happened
enough.
to him.
I've seen enough. because that's the thing. Like, well, people, when they see tag teams, they look at it and see single potential. They look for it.
Right,
it's only only Mark thinking is like separating tag team wrestlers from singles wrestlers. In everybody's wrestling mind, they are a wrestler and they get put into a role for a time. So it's like whatever. But anyway, neither here nor there. The match is exactly what you expect it would be. Like, these guys doing all these things, kicking out of it, whatever. Like, if you can imagine what an AEW main event would be like, and then you'd imagine these two fucking guys in it, the idea, even just to give you the sense of like, my thing I said about
but Vet, they overextended this match just to prove a point, like, to go into the WrestlePalooza time, to go against the John Cena Brock Lesnar thing, and even the Uso Vision match. They didn't even need to go 50 minutes with their segment to end almost at 8 o'clock. This could have ended at 7:25 with a nice, decent match. You didn't have to kick out of like 10,000 maneuvers, and you could still told a story like Kyle Fletcher is up and coming, but he came up short because lack of experience, lack of big time experience. But you had to elongate it for 50 minutes for no reason.
Something tells me there was just as good a chance of that happening regardless of what was counter-programmed.
Yeah.
Because they just do that. I mean, it's not like we had a bunch of short AEW pay-per-views and then this, right? So,
right. Exactly.
But yeah, so that's what they do. They do all that stuff, and just like I said about Kyle with Hangman with the, I'm gonna hit you with the dead eye on the apron, and then come at you with the you get up from that immediately because I got to do my moonsault, right? Like just like that dumb level of psychology. That's the finish of this match. He hits him with a dead eye off the second rope, but that's not good enough. You got to wait for him to stand back up so you can hit him with your clothesline, because that's much more devastating. So he finally beats Kyle Fletcher, and then that's it. No angle to close the show. Just Hangman walking up the ramp. Nothing happening. Nothing interesting. Yay Hangman. Quality win. He's the best AEW champion we've ever had. And we need to tell you that. So there you go. There was All Out.
The sad part is he's not lying. They really look at him like that. You know what I mean? That he's the greatest AEW.
Well, they reminded you. They reminded you in this 38-minute match that he's one of the greatest AEW champions of all time.
Dude, I was done by this point. I was like gassed, savagely.
I graciously just said, you know what? I'll watch WrestlePalooza. I was like, I didn't need it.
Luckily, I only watched All Out first, and then onto Palooza. Oh my god! I don't know how you did it, but
now
goddamn.
I'll tell you this. So here's my favorite part of this whole thing that I get to, the most interesting and different thing I can say. I don't think you'll hear this on any other show. So I'm in a time crunch, guys. First of all, I had to wake up early just to start watching this, right? Dude. Then I had to go to work. Then I had to fit more of it into my hour lunch break. Okay. So I'm trying here. I'm cutting corners where I can. Okay. Now, by the time I get home, I got to watch this monstrosity of a match, right? This main event. Okay. So, and it's now like 7:15, 7:20. We got to go live at 8. So I'm sitting here. I got 40 minutes to watch a 38-minute match. You said, Professor? So I'm sitting here and like, I literally, how when you like go to the kayfabe site and they have it broken up into pieces, set part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, right? So I am actually on my phone. Like I have like part, 14 or whatever. Like I'm watching part 14 on my phone like this, and on my TV I have the last part playing ahead of it. So like the part 14 will finish first, but then I got the ending going on the TV right now. So I'm like Dr. Manhattan, just watching like all the timelines like in a row. Like it is 7:30. It is September 21st, and I am watching Hangman versus Kyle Fletcher. Like I'm just in the morning watching multiverses. That's what I had to do for you guys.
And we appreciate that. I know, of course, we all appreciate that.
And it all sucked. Like every timeline sucked. But I'm just saying,
But don't worry. This 38-minute classic will be 6 stars on the Meltzer's statometer, and then this will be the match of the year. And then everything that Vet said in Meltzer's eyes is erroneous and wrong. So I don't know why, but it is what it is.
He's been fucking up a lot lately too.
He might tell you. He might tell you, well, it's not what I like, but the people.
Seriously, man.
Anyway, 9 stars. So that's it. I hope we gave you a 9-star episode today of the All Out edition of the Wreckage.
That Wreckage. It's the All Out, Toronto edition of that Wreckage. Yeah. And I mean, look, we were doing great time, but once we got here, man, talking 60 hours. Imagine we was, doing our normal time with Dynamite. Would have been here for 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, we're trying to counter program the NFL here at Hamin Media Group, so we're trying to make sure that we extend into kickoff times and everything like that. So, hopefully you guys are watching us. Yeah, hopefully it works. All right. Well, anyway, let's not keep you any longer. I guess we'll go around the horn, starting with me. Right, Adapting everywhere. All the shows I'm on, all the Friends shows I'm on, or whatever. Just like and subscribe to all those. Professor.
You can follow me on my YouTube channel at PWSOPROF. That's PWSOPROF, where you can find the most nostalgic podcast on that YouTube channel, the Pro Wrestling Reflection podcast with myself and the Tommy Wonder. And we will be back in October. We're taking a little bit of a September hiatus because executive producer extraordinaire Big Ray Hernandez is on his way to Mexico, And I told him to keep his butthole tight, but he knows why. But neither here nor there. So we'll be back in October with new episodes of the Pro Wrestling Reflection.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man. Also, if you want to follow me, you can on the X at the PWC Network, not at DJ Mass Effects, unfortunately. But most importantly, like and subscribe right here at Hamin Media Group's YouTube channel. Again, I keep seeing the subscriber numbers going up. Again, we thank all of you for for helping the cause, but please keep doing so because we really appreciate it. And just tune in for all the shows. I mean, are we going to do the horn or are we just going to go home at this point, Vet?
The horn? We're just going to...
Of shows.
Come on, they know.
The shows.
They know.
They know. You know where to find us and where to find them. So
if you're watching us here, you can find us everywhere right here. So just look in the... just look in the videos, look in the live, look in everything, look in the shorts, look at the clips, look at everything right here on Hamin Media Group, YouTube, and the Twitch channel as well.
Absolutely. But in saying that, I guess it's a wrap. I am Jimmy T. He is my co-host, Jamie the Vet Williams, and the best in the world, of course. And he is the magnanimous and the most glorious of co-hosts in the Professor. I'm going to start doing that. Chabelo Vera Cruz, and you've been listening and watching the
Wreckage
Boy.
live on Hamin Media Group's YouTube channel and of course channelattitude.com after the fact. Till next time, we're out. Peace.